North Korea's division in charge of the country's missiles may have formed a new brigade to deploy the KN-08 intercontinental ballistic missile. South Korean and American troops held a joint landing drill in Thailand, their first following North Korea's long-range missile launch. And a crew from KBS TV has filmed the Kaesong industrial complex for the first time since Seoul suspended operations and Pyongyang froze the assets. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Monday, February 15th. I'm Luke Clary. We begin with an update on North Korea's missile program. It's suspected that the North Korean strategic division overseeing the country's missile unit may have formed a KN-08 brigade devoted to the mobile intercontinental ballistic missiles. Here's more.
These are KN-08s, North Korea's mobile intercontinental ballistic missiles unveiled at the military parade last October, held to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the Workers' Party. The warheads appear to be blunter than the ones first shown in April 2012. American intelligence sources believe that the improved KN-08s have not been sufficiently tested yet, but that the missiles are in initial deployment stage.
It is also committed to developing a long-range nuclear-armed missile that's capable of posing a direct threat to the United States, although the system has not been flight tested.
If the North Korean military formed a KN-08 brigade, it is very likely to be under the strategic division overseeing the country's missiles and nuclear arms. U.S. military is keeping an eye on the new military unit, since the mainland U.S. in effect comes under the target range of nuclear missiles if nuclear warheads are fitted onto the KN-08s, estimated to have a maximum range of 10,000 kilometers.
Up next, KBS TV has conducted an emergency poll to find out what the South Korean public thinks about the ongoing tensions between the two Koreas following Pyongyang's latest nuclear test and rocket launch. Here are the results.
Military tensions are running high between South and North Korea following Pyongyang's fourth nuclear test and its launch of a long-range missile. KBS TV has conducted a poll to find out what the public thinks is the right way for the government to counter Pyongyang's provocations. 48.9% of the people surveyed favored stronger action, including 30.9% calling for stronger economic sanctions and 18% saying that the government should consider military means to remove the North's nuclear facilities. 40.1% of those polled said the conflict between the two Koreas should be resolved through dialogue. 7.7% said Pyongyang's nuclear program should be recognized. On the question of how Seoul should respond to Pyongyang's nuclear threat, 41.1% said that the Korean peninsula must remain denuclearized. However, over 50% said South Korea should have its own nuclear weapons, with 29.3% saying Seoul should develop nuclear weapons independently, and 23.2% calling for the redeployment of U.S. tactical nuclear weapons. Regarding the development of the USThai missile defense program, 67.1% were in favor, more than double the 26.2% who were opposed. Over 54% of those polled said that suspending operation of the Kaesong industrial complex was the right thing to do. That's more than 10 percentage points higher than those who said that operations should continue.
South Korean and American troops held a joint landing drill in Thailand, their first following North Korea's long-range missile launch. The Allies showed their resolve to prevent further North Korean provocations by taking part in various exercises.
Marines jump out of an American vertical takeoff and landing aircraft in succession amid a cloud of water spray. Members of the South Korean Marine Corps on a high-speed boat secretly infiltrate the enemy shoreline. American F-16 fighter jets, guided by the Joint Search Team, bombard enemy targets from above. The Allied forces' tanks roll in from the sea, and swarm the beach while detonating smoke bombs. Marines who successfully pulled off a blitz landing start attacking the enemy on all fronts and capture the enemy base in a flash. This is a large-scale landing exercise conducted by ROK U.S. allied forces following North Korea's latest missile provocation. Roughly 800 troops, including some 440 members of the South Korean Navy and Marine Corps, and American and Thai forces, as well as 10 naval warships and aircraft, took part in the drill to carry out a multifaceted operation from the sky and the sea. South Korean and American military authorities are carrying out tough drills under varying conditions to boost their readiness against potential additional provocations from North Korea.
A crew from KBS TV has filmed the Kaesong industrial complex for the first time since Seoul suspended its operations and Pyongyang froze the assets. What used to be a symbol of inter-Korean cooperation now looks more like a ghost city.
The motorway connecting the south and the north is deserted. The Kaesong industrial complex reveals itself behind a road sign reading Kaesong. The industrial park used to be crowded with South Korean management staff and North Korean workers, but now it's completely empty. There is not a single person on the roads inside the complex. North Korean soldiers who used to patrol the fence surrounding the complex are all gone. Commute buses that used to bring some 50,000 North Korean workers daily are parked in a garage. A village nestled under a large North Korean flag comes into view. It's Gijeongdong, the village closest to the Kaesong industrial complex. Residents and children can be seen. The Inter-Korean Industrial Park once existed like an oasis in the hermit state. The bright lights of the complex, which once symbolized Koreans' wish for peace and coexistence, were helplessly turned off by the North's nuclear ambitions.
An individual savings account, or ISA, is a tax-efficient way to manage assorted financial products under one account. South Korea will introduce the ISA system in a month's time. Financial experts say that ISAs may be a good way to save or invest money in the current low-interest market.
This new employee makes about $33,000 a year. Rather than leaving his money in a checking account, he's looking for a financial product that can give him a decent return as well as tax benefits.
그런 개념에 대해서만 부분적으로 알고 아직 정확히 어떻게 해야 할지는 잘 모르겠어요.
His search may be over as the individual savings account system will be introduced in Korea in mid-March. An ISA account holder uses only one bank account to manage his money in savings accounts or investment funds. Taxes are exempted for profits up to $1,650, and a very low tax rate is applied to any additional profits. However, an account holder must maintain the account between 3 and 5 years, depending on his or her income level, in order to receive the benefits. During that time, the money is essentially untouchable. Also, ISA products generate fees, so account holders must make sure that costs are not higher than tax benefits.
Most of the roses sold in Korea are foreign varieties. A farmer in Gimhae, who has dedicated more than 4 decades to growing the iconic flowers, has earned the title of Rose Master for developing indigenous Korean rose varieties.
Roses are in full bloom. 350,000 roses of all colors, ranging from pink to pure white, show off their beauty. This variety was developed by farmer Kim Won-yoon, who has dedicated over 40 years to cultivating roses. He crossbred the Turkestan rose, which grows on seashores, with imported rose varieties.
유럽 쪽에는 광이 적지 않습니까? 그런 걸 여가 보면은 다는 아니지만은 그 꽃이 태색이 온다든지.
Kim has developed 6 rose varieties over the past decade. In recognition of his achievements, Kim became the only person in Korea to receive the high agricultural title of Rose Master. Kim lowered the unit price of domestic rose varieties that he developed to around 80 cents by eliminating royalties.
로얄티가 차지하는 비율이 한 30% 정도 됩니다. 그 30% 경영비를 절감할 수 있다는 그런 큰 장점이 있습니다.
As of last year, 152 domestic varieties of roses had been developed. Their market share in Korea surged more than tenfold, from 2.3% in 2004 to 28% last year.
Many critics say that modern life is growing cold and heartless, a charge that may ring true among some of the residents of the ubiquitous concrete apartment complexes throughout the country. But there are places where this is not the case and where residents and apartment security guards share cozy ties.
Traditional Korean music is performed in the middle of the high-rise apartment buildings. The residents cook up the spicy rice cake dish tteokbokki and are also busy selling agricultural produce. The locals gather proceeds from these activities and present cash gifts to the security guards for the holidays as a token of gratitude.
감사한 마음으로 또 저희를 대해주시니까 저희도 한 식구잖아요.
They've continued this good cause for 3 years.
네, 추운데 고생이 많으십니다.
네, 매번 감사합니다.
The residents also teamed up to replace parking lot lights. They will use the money saved in electricity bills to raise wages for the guards. Early morning, a lady heads to the guard office carrying a knife wrapped in paper. A crowd has already gathered there.
얼마나 고마운지 몰라요. 쓰다가 이제 또 무드러지면 또 갖고 오쇼.
It's been 10 years since this elderly guard has been sharpening kitchen knives for local housewives.
시장 갔다가 오실 때에 과일 사다가 줄 때가 제일 흐뭇하고 그럽니다.
Half of the Korean population resides in apartment complexes. Once closed-off apartment cells are increasingly turning interactive, with community members helping out one another in goodwill.
A children's book that's more popular among adults. This is no fairy tale. These so-called paper-cutting books literally contain pages of cut-up images, and they're fast becoming a new pastime for grown-ups.
Turning the pages of a storybook. The reader finds characters and scenes reminiscent of a shadow puppet show. Each page of this book, notable for a hollow space at its center, creates a unique stage for a new storyline. This is what's called a paper-cutting book, showcasing great sophistication and attention to millimeter-fine detail. Do-it-yourself paper-cutting books have also become available lately and are especially popular among mothers and office workers. All that's needed is a knife to create one's own fairy tale world anytime, anywhere.
아이 책을 이제 고르다가 엄마의 욕심이 더 있었던 것 같아요. 갖고 싶다라는, 여자들이 뭐 가방 갖고 싶다 이런 것처럼.
Hobbyist clubs have also popped up recently, with members displaying their works in exhibitions. The allure of papercraft offered by storybooks is capturing the hearts of grown-ups.
The specialty food for the Lunar New Year's holiday in Korea is deokguk, or rice cake soup. Now, each region has its own version with distinct flavors and deok shapes. This episode of Yum Yum TV features the wide world of rice cake soup found throughout the various regions of Korea. Rice cake soup comes in many different varieties depending on the region and ingredients. How is the iconic dish prepared in the Jeolla region, known for its delicious local cuisine?
닭으로 육수 내서 두부랑 떡이랑 넣어서 끓인 떡국이에요. 진짜 맛있어요.
Here's how to make Jeolla-style tofu rice cake soup in chicken stock. Make a stock by cooking Korean chicken and garlic. Shred the meat from the chicken and set it aside. Add minced garlic, salt, pepper, and sesame seed oil to the shredded chicken meat and mix well to let the seasoning soak into the chicken. Put rice cake slices and tofu into the chicken stock and let it simmer until the duck becomes tender. Then garnish the soup with the seasoned chicken meat and eggs. Now let's go over to Gyeongsang province to taste its version of rice cake soup. This restaurant is known for its specialty, prepared with oysters. In order to achieve the refreshing and flavorful taste of this dish, it's important to wash the oysters thoroughly. Add sliced rice cake, seaweed fulvescens, and oysters to a stock made with dried pollock heads and kelp. Bring the soup to a boil and season with soy sauce before serving, and you have a bowl of delicious oyster seaweed fulvescens rice cake soup.
굴에는 단백질이 풍부할 뿐만 아니라 타우린이 많아 피로를 해소하고 콜레스테롤을 낮추는 데도 도움이 됩니다.
Up next is Chungcheong Province's seaweed and perilla seed rice cake soup. Shape up some dough combining plain rice powder, sweet rice powder, and salt. Stir-fry soaked seaweed before adding beef stock. Add rice cake slices and perilla seeds and bring the mixture to a boil to complete your delicious and healthful seaweed and perilla seed rice cake soup. Each provincial area has its own unique rice cake soup recipe, making use of local ingredients. But what each style has in common is a wish for a good year ahead. Bring your family a happy and prosperous new year with a delicious bowl of rice cake soup. Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.